It was kind of that moment where it was like, I think this is something I need to do. And sometimes the bad things do happen to really good people. I think anybody would tell you that they thought maybe things would be a little different, but you embrace each day that you have. It's actually kind of a family joke now, because in high school, I always talked about not wanting to be part of the family business. And of course, being a teenager, you don't really think about that at the time. You just know what you want, or you think you know what you want to do at that time, and that's just how it's going to be. Little did I know that there was a huge other plan for me in SOAR to be a part of the family business. And, and here I am today. I went to college and was like everybody else, undecided, where wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and played around with different things, physical therapy and all that stuff, because I was playing volleyball for college, and thought this would be a good thing to do, and just seemed like the right thing. And then I kind of fell into some other stuff with communications, public relations, and so just went up from there. After I got out of college, that's kind of when the economy kind of went bad, and just, there weren't many jobs, and nobody was hiring per se. My dad gave me a call, and he said, hey, I just bought another business. I would like for you to come run it, and because he had two others. So I thought, well, I don't know. And I really kind of took a few days to think about it, and I thought, if this is something I need to do, I kind of prayed about it, thinking maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Even though deep down I thought, I do not want to do this. It was the last thing I thought I wanted to do. And I remember just having that feeling where it was like, I had applied for other jobs, and it was kind of that moment where it was like, I think this is something I need to do. And just set aside my other feelings about it and just maybe go with it and see where it goes. And I thought, the family moved to Florida. Why not? Florida seems like a cool place to live. I took the chance, and I went home and, started working. One thing that I noticed when I first started working in the family business is the dynamics change with your family. And I think even Dad would be one of the first ones to tell you that our dynamic changed. And it was weird at first, because you go from this father-daughter role to what he's known, and I grew up in that 4 years. I still had a lot of growing up to do, don't get me wrong, but it was kind of one of those things where, you start working together, and then you start, not that you're an equal, but you see things and think, oh, you could do it this way, you could do it that way, to help improve the business. Even though I had no idea what I was doing when I first got involved with it. It was a fence business. I thought, what do I know about fence? Why do I even want to know about fence, And so I kind of had a little bit of an outlook like, I don't want to do this, even though I had come all the way down here. So, but our dynamic was very different in the very beginning, and we butted heads a lot, but also because we're so much alike. So it was kind of another thing thrown into the mix. Dad has a great way of teaching, but he also, at that moment, was kind of like, well, you got to figure it out. You got to fail a few times to figure out something. Of course, he wasn't going to let me crash his business or anything, but he gave me enough, lead to make the mistake and learn from it. He always told me, if you make a mistake, just be sure don't make it again. That always kind of stuck with me, and so just everything that I was learning on the job training is something that can't be replaced. Like it's amazing, the stuff. If I look back now, I actually passed the place every once in a while, the first place that we had bought. And all the pleasant memories come back where it's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that where I'd be where I am now, and just because of the start and the step that I took to join the family business. It was very hard at first, transitioning into all that, and then we finally kind of got the groove in where we figured out what works, what doesn't work, as far as, stepping on each other's toes. And I think that's kind of a lot of what people are scared of, is working with their mom or dad or sisters, brother, uncles, whoever. It's not an easy thing whatsoever, and it takes special families, people, I think, to work together in that sense, because it, a lot of family businesses crumble because of, the dynamics didn't work, and I can see why now. At first, I never really understood, because our family gets along, and I thought, well, how could that, how could that happen? But I see now where things can unravel, or something was said, or this or that, or someone was slacking here. A lot of people, when I told them I was working for a family business when I first started, they were kind of like, oh, you got it easy, don't you? And I kind of laughed at myself thinking, you have no idea what I'm doing. it wasn't a 9-to-5 job. Like it was, I would go to work and I would do the biz in the morning, run the office, do the accounts, do all this different stuff. And I was learning as I was going, but one of Dad's other businesses were the like sports film renovations and different things. And I was out there running a tractor. So in the mornings I was doing office stuff and everything else. He'd call me and say, hey, I need your help on this work, this field, you know, and so I would run out there and help grade a field or do all, you know, and so I mean, I was doing labor stuff too. And so it was kind of, I mean, there was even one time I was out there when they were having to resod a field. I was out there beside the guys throwing the stuff down, and, you know, and everything. And I mean, and it's hot when it's in Florida too, so it's not like it's something easy. And if anybody knows my dad, they know that I didn't just have something handed to me whatsoever. So that was something I struggled with in the very beginning, because I thought, you know, I don't want people thinking that I've got it easy. But then it's kind of like life. You come to realize it's like, it doesn't matter what other people think, you know? I mean, I know that I work hard and that I do what I do, and that's what it is. I started noticing, you know, when I would talk to friends and talk to other people that had these other jobs, that what I did was so different from what they did. And, you know, it's not always I could talk about it because they didn't understand, you know, where my thought process was because of this, or, you know, business-wise, I guess. And so it was kind of hard for a little while. And, you know, I started to learn that entrepreneurship is a very different thing, and you have to surround yourself with kind of like-minded people on that level. And and being 24, 25, I mean, that, you know, you're kind of like still want to have fun, but you want to, you know, do the right thing and, you know, work hard and all that stuff. So it was a struggle for a little while. I think one of the #1 questions I always get asked is, you know, is it worth it to be a part of a family business or a mom and pop? I mean, if you have that chance to be able to be a part of something, and maybe it's not something you really see yourself doing. Like I said, a fence business, I never would have thought of fence, but in irrigation and the field renovation stuff, you know, I had no idea that I would learn so much of what, it wasn't just about that per se, like a fence or an irrigation. It wasn't really about that. It was about the knowledge of learning the on-the-job training. You just have to be prepared and know that there is a chance that you're going to have some fights, and you're going to have to, but that comes along with anything in life, with relationships or any sort. Kids kind of get pushed in the back where they don't really get, they're kind of still that lower part of the totem pole thing because they're the kid. And a lot of times that is the biggest issue that people deal with, as far as the parents not giving them, you know, it's like Restaurant Impossible. Every single time, it's always at the restaurant. The kids are the ones trying to make the updates and stuff, and the parents don't want to do it because they're old school, and so on and so on. And so don't be afraid to say what you think, or say this or say that. I mean, it may have a bad repercussion, don't get me wrong, but at least keep the communication open, because communication is key through anything that you do, especially family business, because that's the #1 thing that we've ever seen. Another question I get asked all the time too is, you know, did you see your life going differently? Well, doesn't everybody? You know, there was a day that changed, I think, not just my life, but our family's life forever. July 21st, 2012. My sister was killed in a motorcycle accident. With the family business taking a hit like that, I mean, that, you know, it just, your world gets rocked. And so it trickles into everything else. And that's where, I know Dad had talked about this in his interview, where, you know, your employees are a huge part. They're like your family. And we had people step up and help us and take care of the businesses while we were trying to deal with, you know, this loss and this, you know, just unspeakable pain that we were in. And so it became, you know, the people that we had been depending upon, they stepped up, and that's what your employees and people in your business should do in those moments. You know, and coming back to the thing, I remember just sitting there and staring at the screen, the computer screen, for just hours, and thinking, none of this matters, you know, and you know, your whole mindset's completely different. And I didn't have the motivation I didn't have, which understandably I know, but it took a while for us to get back and to, we basically were treading water the best that we could as far as each day to make it work and not let the businesses crumble or anything else. Ever since all of that, I mean, it's made our family stronger. And I hate saying that because, we have this huge hole that we're missing. But, we know that, through our faith that we will see her again, but it's also now it's more about for us, what can we do now to, with our businesses, with life and everything else, what can we do now that is going to make a difference today? Not, 5 years from now, because we'll be the first to say that, life's short. And I used to say it, but now I really know that life's short. If you're on a path, maybe you're not happy, maybe you're not, maybe there's something else you want to do. Maybe it's start a business or join a family business or anything, whatever it is you want to do, don't be afraid to do it. But just remember to keep your faith and that sometimes the Lord's got something else in plan for you, in store for you. And don't be afraid to go at it with full force because He can take care of you, even in the darkest times.